this is probably going to be the most important thing that I tell you. So I hope you watch my video, you watch Russell's video, and you really think and make a commitment here to what you're going to learn. So up until this point, you've learned how to identify your dream student and how to figure out where they spend their time online and craft a message that'll be attractive to those students so that they'll want to leave where they are and then come to follow you. So the next logical question is, okay, so what are they following? What am I creating and how am I doing it? And I just want to be a teacher. What does all this have to do with just teaching English? Okay, I'm going to try to get to all of these questions. The main thing you need to really understand here is there's a big difference between having your own English teaching business and working for another company. If you're working for another company, you don't have to worry about this stuff. And if that's all you care about, and if you don't want to make very much money, I mean, go do that. A lot of really casual teachers just do that, and that's fine. But if you actually want to have a business, control all of the elements, and be able to scale it up so that you can have the potential and the opportunity to replace other income streams, this is how you do it. If you're working for somebody else, you're making them rich, you're not making yourself rich. Now, I can't promise that anybody's going to get rich doing this. I haven't yet, but this is the way to do it, right? Because we're following in the footsteps of people who have been there before us. We're doing this together. And Russell Brunson, the author of the book that I've been talking about this whole time, is the guy to follow. So when it comes to the thing we're going to do today, it's all about, well, let me just jump into the slides and we'll get to it. Here we go. So this is day 3. And I want you to take a deep breath, because you're about to start publishing regularly. Now, what does that mean? That means you're going to be creating content online. You're going to be doing it every day if you can, at the very least on a regular schedule. So 2-3 times a week, I would say at minimum once a week. But if you're only doing it once a week, then the quality of your content needs to be really high. A lot of people recommend just doing it every day. And that sounds like a big commitment. That sounds like a lot of time investment, but it doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be. So here's how you do it. First, you pick one platform. You could either do a video platform like YouTube, a social platform like Facebook, or one that's heavy on images like Instagram or any other. And the best thing to do is to just pick one and get really good at that first. And then later on, you can expand and spread and do others. I really like podcasting because it's very easy to get started, and it's only audio, so I don't have to mess with my hair or put on a shirt. You just start talking into the microphone. Okay, that's so. Also, I like to listen to podcasting. So the thing that Russell recommends is to think about where you like to spend your time. What do you like to do when you're online? Do you listen to podcasts? Do you watch videos? Do you read blogs? So pick the one that you like. If you read blogs, then you're going to be a writer starting today. If you listen to podcasts, then you just started your brand new podcast today. So start today, pick one, and don't buy a bunch of stuff for this. Don't spend a lot of time learning audio and video editing. Just make it rough and honest, because this is where you are refining your voice. In the beginning, it's going to suck. Let's be honest, it's not going to be good. Even if you're a great teacher, if you've been teaching online for years, you can teach everything about English or whatever your subject is. This is a different thing. So when you get into it, plan on not being good. Plan on not living up to your own personal standards, and that's okay. Create the content and put it out there, because you're going to be developing the habit. You're going to get better. You'll find your voice and your message. Remember, Yesterday, we talked about hook, story, offer. This is where you tell your stories and you refine them. Not every story is going to be a hit, and that's okay. It's like Russell tells the example of a comedian who you see him on a TV show, and every joke is just hilarious, and you're just laughing and laughing, and you think, wow, that guy must be a natural. He's just naturally funny. But that's not true. That comedian spent months or even years going to small clubs and practicing his jokes. And he'd go to one club and he'd tell 10 jokes, and maybe only one of the jokes is funny. So he goes home and he throws away the 9 jokes that nobody laughed at, and then he keeps the one that people laughed at, and then he writes some more, and he goes to another club and he practices again. Maybe that time 3 jokes are funny, and he keeps doing that until he has 10 really great jokes, and that's when he goes on TV and everybody laughs, right? So you're going to do the same thing when you're going on your podcast or your video or your blog. You're telling these stories, you're practicing, and you're seeing how people respond. And as you get better at your delivery and as your presence spreads, then you can do things like looking for other people in podcasting or in blogging that are writing about a similar thing. Build a relationship with them. These are the other influencers that your audience is also following. So make a relationship with it, and maybe invite a different podcaster to come onto your show and you can interview them. Or maybe you go on their show and they interview you. Maybe you invite your favorite blogger to write a guest post on your blog. So you can do things like that, connect with other people that are doing this, and you can share the audience, right? So that's how you can start. And it takes time and it takes consistency. That's the number one thing, though, and that's what everybody says. You might hear about this method because a lot of people talk about it when you really get into online marketing. And the number one thing is consistency. So that's what I recommend starting today. Your homework for today is to think about the platform that you want to use and to make a publishing plan. How often can you commit to publishing? And then just do it. Start this week, start today, and don't stop for at least a year. And after a year, you're going to be amazed at the progress that you've made and the way that you've changed as a person as you've done this. Okay. And let's move on to some frequently asked questions and see what we've got here today. Okay. So I don't have time to create regular content. Yeah. The time argument is always there, and people never feel like they have time. So you can do things like on Instagram, you can just click go live on Instagram as you're driving, or maybe somebody else is driving and you're in the car. Just get on and tell a 5-minute story and just get off, and that's it. That's your content, right? It could be as simple as that. Maybe if you're a blogger, but you don't have to sit down and type, you don't have time for typing, then you can dictate, you can speak your blog article and then have it transcribed, and then you just go in and edit the transcription, and that's much faster. So there are strategies to make it faster, okay? So don't let your initial objection of time, don't let that get in your way, okay? Then another one, I don't have the skill to make content that looks professional. So this goes back to the story that I told in lesson number 2. Don't worry about looking professional at first. If you are creating content that is honest and it's organic and you're being authentic in your presentation, people forgive a lot of the roughness that might come out. So in the beginning, especially, just tell your audience, you say, hey, this is a brand new podcast and it's going to be a little bit rough, but it's going to be a lot of fun, and we're going to do this, and you're going to learn a lot. And just tell them up front. Don't try to pretend to be something that you're not. Down the road, you'll eventually learn how to make it come across as more professional, but that really shouldn't stop you in the beginning. And definitely don't go out and buy $500 worth of podcasting equipment or video editing software for this. Okay. And that's the third part. I don't know how to use insert. So a lot of this stuff is pretty user friendly. If you don't know how to, if you can't figure it out, there are plenty of YouTube tutorials for whatever platform you decide to create content on. So I suggest just use your resources, and there's nothing that's too hard. If you think you have to use like the top of the line image editing software, just know that you don't. Like, there are free image graphic editing software packages out there. It's not that hard and it's not that complicated. So keep it simple. All right, so that's it for this video, and this is the last video in the series. So I want to encourage you, one, if you haven't done it yet, to click the button at the top of this page and join our Facebook group. It's the Tutor Side Hustle Facebook group. That's where you'll find all of your peers who are already trying to do this. And you can ask questions, you can join the community. So that's definitely, I recommend doing that. And if you haven't yet, I really recommend getting that Traffic Secrets book that Russell Brunson just put out. It's amazing. I've listened to the audiobook twice over the last week. It covers so much more than what I was able to put into this web class. So if you watched all 3 lessons and you think it's something that you want to do, definitely you can start right now with everything that you've learned. But there's more to learn, and there's deeper knowledge that's in the book. Plus, because it's Russell Brunson, he throws in a bunch of bonus content also. It's really, really worth it. And all you do is pay for shipping. I mean, that's like, you can't get a better deal. So I should have had my video on this whole time. That's all right. See, we don't have to be professional. We don't worry about perfection. Yeah, you can do it, and it's going to be great. Again, if you have any questions, let me know, and I'll talk to you again soon. Bye.